where we found ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to a special edition of The Local Show. It's special because it's 2025, guys. Happy New Year. Hope the New Year's treating you well so far. I'm Erik Skarvin, your host, still in my new Gonzo attire. I hope you caught our show at Owl Farm a couple weeks ago with Anita Thompson, talking about the traditions and philosophies of Hunter S. Thompson. We're going to go a little bit old school today. I've got a friend back. She is former mayor, former Pitkin County Commissioner. It's Rachael Richards back on the Local Show set.
How are you?
Welcome back, Rachael.
It's so exciting to be here, and I like the new set. I've been watching it on TV, but to be here means a lot.
And we're going to have almost a completely new set within the year. So we're really excited. I mean, even a new desk here.
Ooh.
So brace yourself. We're going to keep modernizing, but we'll keep that old school vibe, the kind of grassroots. It was the original public access channel in the United States in 1972.
Here's to GrassRoots.
I know. Here. And here's also some props for you for campaigning to save the red brick. This whole structure, the community voted on whether we wanted to basically keep it in the community. It passed by 3 votes.
3 votes. Your vote counts in a small town.
Exactly. So thanks for that. It's unbelievable how this area is manifested with all the nonprofits. Sarah Roy does such a great job, their executive director, GrassRoots TV, and all these other aspects.
Well, we were losing a lot of our nonprofits to Down Valley because office space was so expensive.
Right.
And like KJAC's public radio station, started by Cy Coleman, was
right.
out at the Airport Business Center in a little office there.
Wow.
And, you know, there was always a vision of saving both the yellow brick and the red brick, and that was a negotiation with the school board. So the kids can come over here and indulge in the arts or use the gym facility for all the tumbling classes and things like that. And to imagine that these 2 locations could have been lost to second home development, we would have lost a heart and soul piece of our town.
Well, huge thanks for that.
Yeah,
because, I mean,
thank
this is such an amazing asset. So many assets for the community, including GrassRoots TV. And now we're coming up on 20 years of the Local Show.
Yeah.
Next month in February, we're going to have a 1-hour special with John Oates and live music.
Oh, nice.
And maybe we'll have a few other surprises going on. But what I wanted to start this show with you, I mentioned you're running for mayor again.
Yes.
Our election's March
4th.
4th, okay. Important to know that date. But what's briefly your Aspen story? Because I find that really interesting. For those who don't know how you ended up here, just briefly, how did you end up in Aspen?
Yeah, I grew up in the Silver Spring area of Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. My father's an attorney, and my mother was an artist. And, you know, we had a lot of in D.C., you see a lot of the news, the national news, a lot more. And, you know, getting the Washington Post from my dad every morning down at the driveway and hearing him discuss it over the table, whether we understood the questions or not at that age. But, you know, there was just a little mother-daughter stuff going on, and I'd grown up watching, you know, the peace movements in the 60s and 70s, and I wanted my independence really badly, and I thought I could have it. I'd been working during high school, and I took a Greyhound bus across country from Silver Spring, Maryland, a week before my 18th birthday. I sold my '69 Mustang and all my money that I had. It was an automatic, is okay.
Oh, okay.
And
so
and
that's one of my dream cars.
So that was it. And I spent my first night in the old Hotel Jerome before the renovation. I had that nice suite with the iron bathtub feet, you know, and the whole thing right where you normally watch the parade. And it was $17.50 a night, and that was too expensive. I was going to go through my money too fast, so I went over and rented a room at the Little Red Ski House. That was a dorm, and people were all congregating there, waiting for the Aspen Times to come out on Friday to learn what new rentals were available. No internet then, and I went to the Super Restaurant on the Hyman Avenue Mall across from the Slope and Alice's Alley and the old mine company there. And my grandmother knew someone who had worked there, so that's why I went there. And while I'm having a nice little quiche for lunch, my second morning there in town, they were putting up a help wanted sign in the window for a cook, and that was part of me coming out here. I knew how to cook. I could have frying pan, will travel, and so I started working my second night in town. Later became the kitchen manager for a short time. Worked as a special chef and there, and then also worked at the old Hotel Jerome breakfast room with Debbie Strom. You know, they said we had the prettiest waitresses in town back then, and I'd get in at 5:30 in the morning and cook the bacon and make the muffins, and you know, that's the Aspen story.
Incredible. And then did you go back, or did you just stay here? Or
I was here primarily straight through there. I did have my son Jacob as a single mother when I was 20.
Okay.
I stayed with my grandmother in Maryland a little bit, and then married Jacob's father. And when we came back, I've noticed there used to be a little more nooks and crannies where people could live than there are now.
Yeah.
But we rented the old Heatherbed stables down below the Heatherbed Lodge. In the summer, it would be a horse rental facility.
Oh, wow.
And in the winter, they would rent it out. And so it had no running water. It had electricity, no toilet facilities. We'd go up and use the showers at the lodge, you know.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was back in the day. And then we rented in Woody Creek Mobile Home Park before buying a unit over at the Aspen Village Mobile Home Park. And then in 1988, I was able to purchase a deed-restricted unit at Hunter Creek, which, of course, was Silver King, converted into Hunter Creek. And so I'm living in the same building that I rented in back in 1978.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's like full circle twice over.
Wow, that's so cool. We could elaborate on that, but we're going to take a quick break because we're going to move into modern times, including the election, of course. So I want to thank Rachael for being here this week. She's super busy, of course, with the election coming up in less than 2 months now, guys. So I want to thank our underwriters for making our winter series happen from mid-November to mid-April. We've got Haiti Children, Klug Properties, Local Spirits, Paradise Bakery, Pitkin County Solid Waste Center, Sundog Athletics, and the Wheeler Opera House. We're going to go to our only break of the show, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We're going to get to know Rachael at a much deeper level than any of us may be ready for. But anyway, we're going to go there anyway, so don't go away.
Okay.
Located in the heart of Aspen, the Wheeler Opera House is rooted in community and recognized globally, presenting live entertainment from comedy and music to dance and theater. Visit WheelerOperaHouse.com for a full schedule of events.
Living in Aspen is more than just owning a home. It's about embracing a way of life. I'm Chris Klug, and I've spent my life immersed in everything this mountain community has to offer, from skiing and snowboarding to art and culture. I understand what makes Aspen special. Discover the Aspen lifestyle with a broker who truly understands it.
Want to live like a local? Help us reduce food waste, a major contributor to climate change.
You can help in 3 simple ways.
Plan menus carefully and only buy what you need.
Collect unused scraps for compost.
Buy ugly fruits and vegetables.
Reduce food waste.
Live like a local.
Locally owned and operated, Local Spirits has low prices, a convenient location next to Exxon gas station with parking, and is Aspen's exclusive cigar dealer. 3% back with our loyalty program. Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school and snowshoeing specialists since 1996. Brought to you by Paradise Bakery and Gelateria, serving Aspen for 42 years.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
So welcome back to the local show, guys. Our first show of 2025. Thanks for joining us. Rachael Richards, former Aspen mayor, former council person, and Board of County Commissioners commissioner. That's a little redundant there. But you've also had some recognition along the way, Rachael. Can you tell us a little bit about your recognition while you were serving public office?
Thank you. That's nice of you to mention it. Well, when I was on the Pitkin County Board of Commissioners, and I really had no seniority there, even though I was coming with a lot of experience from the city, all the real positions were taken, RAFTA board or ACRA or housing board, things like that.
Okay.
And so I started really heavily investigating water issues and paying attention to those. I had been on the Root Eye Water and Power Board, but I helped participate in the state water plan through the Basin Roundtable process. Nice. And I particularly saw that, Grand County is going to be dewatered of 80% of its normal westward flow. Whoa. And Pitkin County is the most second heavily diverted county as it is, and that there are conditional claims to take another 30% of our water out of the watershed, wow. including the Frying Pan and the Roaring Fork. Wow. And so I worked with my county colleagues, and I want to say that for any effort I've been able to, help lead, it's always a huge collaboration with a lot of other people. But we were able to pass a 1/10 of 1 cent sales tax in Pitkin County in perpetuity to protect our watershed. And that can fight future Trans Mountain diversions or improve existing riparian zones, things like that. And the Roaring Fork Conservancy gave me River Conservator of the Year award once. That was really an honor. When I left Colorado Counties, Inc. after 12 years of service there, they have a Christmas event, conference, and they give out some awards. And they don't hand this out every year, but they gave out a dedication to community award, and nice. I received that, and I felt really honored by that. And I've served with Club 20, which is an organization of the western 20 counties of Colorado. And they meet in Grand Junction in the winter and for driving safety, and then somewhere else across the 20 counties of the West Slope during the summer. And so I've participated very heavily with that group. It's considered pretty conservative overall. A lot of past extractive industry and agricultural interests, which were really educational for me. Right. And then, so that was about 20 years of participating with them. I was on their executive board. So they like to have some different points of view and improving their stuff. And I always found it was a great network to hear what they thought, so that when I was dealing with the county groups and legislature down here, I knew, or with Colorado Municipal Leagues, it was multiple feedback loops. But I've received a couple of awards from that organization for care of the citizens of the Western Slope.
Wow. So, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
20 for 20 years
but
for Club 20.
I have to tell you, my proudest set of awards.
Oh, yeah. We've got a stack of them here.
Are blue ribbons and red ribbons and yellow ribbons from the Carbondale Mountain Fair pie baking contest.
Oh, yeah. We got to get into that a little bit, because you've been quite involved in the Carbondale Mountain Fair.
Well, when you've lived here as long as I have, I'd always try to come up with a slightly different pie.
Show us your top. So the blue ribbons, obviously, you won.
The blue ribbons are first place.
So that's winning. And, what year is that?
That was 97.
Okay.
And this one is a first place in 2015. And some of them don't have dates on them, but.
What was your winning pie? Or do they vary from year to year?
Well, there's 3 categories. So there's fruit, exotic, and cream.
Ooh.
And so I would always try to make one for each category. I haven't entered in the past couple of years because I was working on Saturdays and unable to really get down there. It's always a lot of fun. But my goal was to one time win what I call the double crown, and win the women's log splitting at the same year. I got a pie baking ribbon.
That's versatility. That is a wide array of skills.
That's what I was
So you've done the chopping, and I think we have a picture or two of that. And like wood chopping, what's up with that? Like, why did you? Why were you attracted to that?
I was you have to have something to balance out some of the nitty gritty of the political work.
Okay.
But my job
Sounds like blowing off steam to me.
yeah, there's that.
Venting a little.
I worked for over 20 years with Don and Jill Sheely for Aspen Activity
yeah.
Center, distributing materials
love
throughout
those
the
guys.
whole community. And it was an ideal job because you get so much feedback from the locals and things I'd been fretting over and saying in 3 paragraphs, they could say in 2 sentences and really condense it down, what was at the heart of things. But, that was a pretty physical job. And so I'm doing a lot of lifting and unloading skids of trucks and things like that. And so
Okay.
I felt like I was in good enough shape to try that women's log splitting. And I only really won it 1 year. I was younger, certainly. But I was wearing a dress, and I was I'd entered, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I got this great picture in the newspaper with my trusty mall, and people were like, she won in a dress.
Well, and looking good doing it. Like, kicking butt.
But some years you get a really big log, and some years you get a decent log, and you just never know. I mean, I've seen years where half the people are getting pine to chop and other people are getting cottonwood, and I'm like, well, that's not really fair.
Hey.
But it's the
It's
luck
got to be a
of,
parody, of the same log for everyone.
yeah,
If you-
it's the luck of the draw when you're down there. It's Carbondale, and it's beautiful. I love that mountain fair, and
I love
you see
Carbondale.
so many friends that have either moved down valley or just don't come out that often, and they all come out for the music and the community that event creates.
Yeah. Well, that leads into so many things, but a lot of folks, like our friends and locals, move down valley, over the years, and I know a lot of them want to come back, and it's actually shown in surveys. Not all of them, of course, and
Right.
many love it down there no matter what. But, that kind of goes to the affordable housing issue, which to me has always been central, where transportation, the environment, and a lot of our other issues revolve around housing people right here in Aspen. And we kind of know about the lumberyard project that's been lumbering along and at $500 million or whatever that ends up to be. But what are some other initiatives that you think we can do, either in Aspen or Pitkin County, to bring people kind of back up or keep people here,
Yeah.
with local affordable housing?
Well, it is a really broad topic, and
Yeah.
I think the one thing I've really taken note of is, it's a national problem, and it's an
Yeah.
affordability issue that's everywhere. We're really a lot further along than other resort communities, especially for permanent year-round residents who commit their time and their heart and their soul to the town. But when you look at how much of our workforce we've always depended on who live down valley in free market units, and God bless people who made the sacrifice and said, I'm going to move to Missouri Heights or I'm going to move to Carbondale. But as those people retire in their homes or sell their homes and move to someplace like Florida or back to where their family is, they're not going to be replaced with new people who do that same kind of or category or level of jobs, because we're going to see a drain of our workforce that live in the free market as they age out and retire that I don't think our business community has fully woken up to yet. And we have to be more aggressive. I'm excited. I helped campaign for the county to pass their most recent true funding source, something other than mitigation. Kelly McNichols Curry deserves an awful lot of credit for being brave enough to bring that forward and working hard to pass it. I helped a little bit as well. But that collaboration between city and county, and I have thought that what we really need to do at this point is have a true housing summit and follow-up meetings as necessary to that, and involve our regional partners and discuss that with the private sector, with Snowmass Village, with Pitkin County, with Aspen, and look at all the various needs. There's lingering issues on capital reserves and people taking care of their units and how to make that fair and reasonable versus new opportunities. And even if as the lumberyard project goes forward, how do we manage that? Are we managing that for year-round residents, or are we managing it for J1s and temporary workers who are not going to be longer-term community members who commit? There was that great article in the Daily News about the J1 workers through the Salamander Corporation, and I don't believe Carbondale built all that rental housing to have just temporary residents who can only be there 4 months at a time. And I think it's a great experience, and I like the J1 program. That's not the issue. The issue really becomes how much are you building long-term community, and whether someone has time to help with a kids softball team after school in the afternoons, or volunteer for the local nonprofits, and actually even contribute, money-wise to the local economy, eating out there and participating there and becoming a local. So, our effects as Aspen of not housing a larger percentage of our workforce anywhere near close to our traditional goals has really bled down valley. I want to really credit Gail Schwartz for all the work she's done with Habitat for Humanity, and there's some private sector groups that are beginning to participate. I've heard the Aspen Community Foundation is interested in getting more involved in those sort of issues. So that's a big one, and that's part of the reason I want to get back in and really convene all the players to prioritize and take care of our issues.
What are some of those other main reasons that you're running again? Because you backed off. You've kind of had an observer viewpoint the last several years, working at our local markets, et cetera, around the community, and you're running again. And you talk about the importance of affordable housing. I know you have interest in the entrance to Aspen.
Yes.
What are a couple of the other things that are priorities or reasons to run again?
Yeah, and I just want to say, when I had left before, it was a 4-year term, or a couple months short because of changes in election date. But I had worked at the City Market Pharmacy in the corner of the Aspen Square building before the remodel recently, and throughout the pandemic. And that was a hard experience. You'd have someone come in the morning and say, when are you going to open up before I lose my home and my business? And someone come in the afternoon and say, when are you going to get more serious before more people die? And that took a certain strain. It sent us into a moratorium to deal with the pandemic refugee changeover of residential values and the short-term rental that were, again, emptying out and changing residential neighborhoods pretty dramatically. Yeah. And so I thought, maybe it's enough for a while. But it was a little disappointing. There were so few candidates who ran. I thought I gave enough time for people to know they wouldn't be running against an incumbent. And it seemed as soon as I stepped away, things started kind of slowing down and spilling out sideways, particularly the entrance to our community. I was hopeful we could get some of the Biden Infrastructure and Jobs Act investment money to help repair the old Castle Creek Bridge and move a true entrance forward, because what we have now is just totally dysfunctional. It doesn't work for general traffic. It doesn't work for mass transit. It certainly is unfair to the business up and down our main street, the idling engines, the greenhouse gas emissions. And I think it's just really time to move forward. I kept seeing kind of delay after delay. It literally took 3 letters from the Colorado Department of Transportation saying, if you want to do a different corridor or a different plan, you have to enter an EIS, a new environmental impact statement. Right. 3 separate letters. And these different ideas that are being thrown out now, they all could have been tested through an EIS process from the beginning, 20 months ago. And so I just decided it's time for real action and getting some real results on some of these major issues for our community. So I felt a little called to step back in and participate.
Oh, we're already down to just a couple of minutes. It's so crazy how time flies, when you're talking about stuff that you really are passionate about. But, during that moratorium, we capped the number of demolitions, I believe, to 8 a year. Is there any way we can cap total construction sites in Aspen? Because the construction relates to about 1/3 of our traffic entering town every day. Last statistics I saw, It could be more than that. If you add in the whole development industry, it's probably 40%. It relates to pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, and litter pollution in almost every neighborhood that's dominated by construction. Is there anything we can do to kind of limit that or restrict total construction, which would affect so many other issues?
Yeah, well, I think you have to realize a lot of the construction we're seeing is going into the county. up on Red Mountain, undeveloped lots, and up
true.
Mountain Valley. It's not all within the city of Aspen, but it still uses the same entrance.
Right.
And there are some real challenges there. Some of your service industries are great carpoolers. Some could do better. You know, you see 3 or 4 guys in the front of a pickup truck or the dual cab. But I think that the state has also changed some of the regulations in an effort to create more affordable housing. But you could look at the annual growth management quota system allotments for future lodge beds and future commercial development and see if that's really in line with what we need. I think we could change our code so that we don't have boarded up buildings sitting vacant in our downtown for year after year after year. Right. And those are some of the other types of real issues I'd like to take a look at.
Okay, so there's ways to kind of clamp down on that a little bit.
Reasonably, but you know, it's more about not killing the golden goose.
Yeah.
No one uses that expression anymore, but you know, we've developed one of the most highly desirable places in the world to live.
Yeah.
We have to tend it very carefully.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking the time today. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you, Rachael.
And thank you, GrassRoots.
Did you have fun on the show today?
I did, and I can't wait to pet Marley a little more.
Marley's ready to come out. So thank you guys for watching this week on The Local Show. See you next week.
Located in the heart of Aspen, the Wheeler Opera House is rooted in community and recognized globally, presenting live entertainment from comedy and music to dance and theater. Visit WheelerOperaHouse.com for a full schedule of events.
Community is at the heart of Aspen, and I take great pride in being a part of it. I'm Chris Klug, and as a lifelong Aspen resident, my connection to this community runs deep. My involvement in local events and charities isn't just about giving back. It's about staying in tune with the community I love. Allow me to help you find your place in our incredible community together.
Join the string beans in helping reduce food waste in our community.
Plan menus carefully and only buy what you need.
Collect unused scraps for compost.
Ask for smaller portions in restaurants.
Take home leftovers to eat later.
Donate unopened food to our food bank.
Let's work in concert to reduce food waste.
Sundog Athletics, Aspen's adventure sports school and snowshoeing specialists since 1996.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Смотрите GrassRoots телевидение, 12 канал Aspen.
Оглядачи GrassRoots телевизия. Вы смотрите телевидение GrassRoots, канал 12.
Cześć, oglądacie GrassRoots Television, kanał 12 Aspen.
Вы смотрите телевидение GrassRoots, канал 12.
Hi, you are watching GrassRoots TV,